Ladies and gents, got a little bit of a discussion we're going to have here. I don't have access to the internet at the moment because they're messing with my router, but it's okay because everything I need to show you is going to be right in front of me in this document right here. Going to listen to, in the past, you weren't able to hear the music in the background because I have my MP3 player, most people call cell phones. Well, my extra cell phones, the the so-called paperweights, I use as MP3 players. Instead of going out there and buying an iPad or an MP3 player, why not just get a SIM card that's the maximum the phone can take and just put your music the way you want on the phone? I plug it into my audio system in my automobile and I ride with my music. And then when I get out of the car, I take my music with me. I do not use the stupid radio in the car for nothing other than to plug in the cell phone. Now, this is an idea. If you want it, you can have it. I was literally going to take the radio in the car and connect the cell phone ear jack directly to the speakers. Okay? Not have to use the radio at all and let my cell phone be my radio from that point on. Now, again, this is my MP3 player. It's not my talk on cell phone. So that's just enough about that. Ladies and gentlemen, video is going to be real short. I just want to prove to you that yes, all of you are beneficiaries of trust. I can prove it. And I guarantee you there's no judge, no stupid law professor, or anybody or their grandfather that can argue with me because I can prove it. The problem is, ladies and gentlemen, there is something in law. Let me see if I can open up the document, and I'm going to have to put you guys on pause in order to pull up this document because it's somebody else's document. But because I can't go online and show it to you, I think it's this right here, this page right here, and this is leg intent. So it's supposed to be legal intent, but leg, L-E-G, intent.com / federal points and authorities. And you want to go to the part about how the courts must go according to congressional intent. So give me a second while I pull up the document. Eventually I'll do a video on this document, but right now, once again, ladies and gentlemen, that's Rashawn Patterson, and he's singing a song called Stars. And I've liked the song since the first day I've heard it. I give him some credit. All right, let's get some things taken care of. You may not be able to hear it as loud as I'm hearing it, but there's another part that he gets to right after this. Have seen it all. We live our lives inside cafes and music halls. Not yet. Hold on. Just bear with me. With the story. Ooh, that's the part I like so much. Just the way he does it. Rashawn Patterson, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a waiver of the BAP court. What's the BAP court? The Bankruptcy Appellate Panel. You don't want to go before the Bankruptcy Appellate Panel. That doesn't help you. Now, some people say, no, go before the Bankruptcy Appellate Panel, because when you go before the Bankruptcy Appellate Panel, then you can go to the district court so you get an extra. No, ladies and gentlemen. I had a case where the Bankruptcy Appellate Panel ignored everything. Ignored everything. And did it on purpose, because this is how ignorant the system is. And we got starting all over again. I told you guys about this song. It's my boy Johnny. And he's, oh no, I'm sorry. I said Johnny. I don't know why I'm thinking Johnny Taylor when I should be thinking Blue Bland. Bobby Blue Band. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, this is saying I don't want to be having no appeal before no stupid Bankruptcy Appellate Panel. And it says, as I've mentioned numerous of times, I have the right to be before the judicial branch recognized venue. and not an administrative venue, instituted under administrative order known as the Emergency Economic Banking Relief Act of 1993 or 1933. Because it is declared by the United States Congress and General Assembly on March 9, 1933, that a serious emergency exists. I put existed before, but now I put exists because it's still current. And as a result of such serious emergency, all national normal banking activities were suspended. Capacities in law. This is the part that I want to show you all. Like I said, I'll go over this a little bit more in detail in the future, but capacities in law, the judge told one person that they were the defendant. So let's kill all that bull about you guys being defendants and being in court with the all caps name on licenses and everything. According to the court, the judicial officer, it does not recognize the difference between a legal person and a natural person. And yet, the judicial officer claimed to be a learned, let's go ahead and do that now. Learned. That's their word. They created it. Okay, it means that they've gone to school, they know, they've studied the law, they're experts. Anyway, persons having knowledge of facts and conclusions of law. Legal person, a noun in law, an individual, a company, or other entity that has legal rights and is subject to obligations. Now remember, individual means a natural person, but according to the law dictionary, an individual, a company, or other entity. Remember, you're an instrumentality of the United States. However, pay attention to what a natural person is. According to Black's Law Dictionary, second edition, a human being, a natural born versus legally generated judicial person. Now, that's straight from Black's Law Dictionary. I did not add legally generated judicial person. So understand the difference between a judicial person or a legal person and the natural born entity, individual. Okay, historically, a human being was not necessarily a natural person in some jurisdictions where a slave was a thing subject to property. That's why I say people, when they say they own all the property of all the people, they're including you rather than a person. Goes on to say, in many cases, fundamental human rights are implicitly granted only to natural persons, of course. For example, the 19th Amendment of the United States Constitution, which states a person cannot be or can be denied the right to vote based on, or cannot be denied the right to vote based on their biological sex, and Section 14 of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which guarantees equal rights applied to natural persons only. For example, here is the unique part, ladies and gentlemen. This is what I like. I'm glad they brought this out. For example, is the distinction between a natural person and a legal person is that a natural person can hold public office, but a corporation cannot. You just go ahead and let the court know the defendant doesn't have the right to vote. The defendant can't hold office. Now, we know corporations are trying to say they got the right to vote. Okay? But anyway, the defendant can't hold public office. The defendant doesn't have the right to vote. The defendant is not a natural person. The defendant is a non-individual. Okay. You know what? Is this Usher? Oh no, this is Mary J. Couldn't tell at first. Mary, what you sing? She's singing Stay Down. Okay. Anyway, that's Mary J in the background. Mary J in the background. Oh God, you're funny. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, another issue as the difference between a natural person and a legal person is usually a natural person perpetrates a crime, but the legal person may not commit crimes. In the US, animals are not persons under US law, and they cannot commit crimes. Okay? Like I said, it depends on how the person brings that up because the United States have been changing that stupid law for quite some time. The defendant in this matter is defined under statute, and we're going to put defendant / debtor because it says bankruptcy. And this matter is defined under statute as a non-individual. The court have the practice in this country of documenting such by placing the name of the entity in all capital letters, as is indicated in the caption of this matter and the style manual of the clerk of the court, do they not? Related terms: judicial person, natural born person, natural allegiance; artificial person, natural issues, natural environment, natural language, natural law; existing person. Okay, now let's continue if y'all don't mind. According to the Federal Registry, which this body must recognize under the Code of Federal Regulations, Title 31, Section 363.6, an individual means a natural person. We're going to put that in cap, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead and look it up. Don't take my word for it, but I promise you, I quoted it exactly word for word. Do you know why? Because when it said it, that's all I needed to hear. By the way, it's in the Federal Registry. If it's in the Federal Registry, it is quote unquote law according to their statutory system. That means they have to acknowledge it. This would indicate that this court is knowledgeable. I should have said cognizant. No, let's do their word, cognizant. Got to turn on my keyboard light. 1 second. Now I forgot where I'm writing, where I'm typing at. Oh, okay. No, it's cognizant. Cognizant that a non-individual is not a natural person. Cognizant is their word. It's a legalese word. It just means they recognize, they understand. Why this court would waste the time of the court, waste the time of the court and the public by failing to rebut the original presumption placed on the record. I see that the defendant, let's see, it's supposed to be, I said that the defendant / debtor is a non-individual and claiming it had authority to dismiss this case without providing a preponderance of evidence to the contrary is a violation of basic principles by which the court operates, presumption of law. I brought up, he who dealt it, smelt it; he who smelt it, dealt it; he who first in line is first in time. I brought up the first presumption. You see, the court brought up the original presumption, which by putting out two different applications, one for a corporation or a non-individual and one for an individual as far as the bankruptcy is concerned. Let's continue. This is my girl Stephanie, y'all, and she's singing Home. Okay, now I know this is Stephanie because everybody, including Anita, not Anita, but Whitney Houston, have redid this song, but nobody can do it better than Stephanie. It's just, sorry, it just can't be done. Anyway, obligations of the United States. There is a point I'm trying to make, so you guys just gonna have to bear with me. It's gonna come right about number 15, so just bear with me. All property in the United States is owned by the state government, to include all the homes and other property of all the people of the nation. Let's get rid of this. And all the people of the nation. That's what I'll do. I don't need all other homes. We have all homes and all the people of the nation. Hold on, I told you I had something to prove. In jurisprudence, a natural person is a person in legal meaning, i.e., one who has his own legal personality. That is an individual human being. Okay, so in jurisprudence, a natural person is an individual human being. An individual means a natural person, as opposed to a legal person, which may be a private business or non-governmental organization or public governmental organization. Now remember, pay attention. Whenever you speak of government, you're speaking of public. Now you're going to start to understand why I was bringing out certain points before. Hold on. Section 2 of the Act of March 9, 1933, got to get rid of it states. States. No, we don't even have to have states because it ain't a state. Subdivision B, Section 5 of the Act of October 6, 1917, Statute at Large 40 at 411, as amended, is hereby amended as follows. During a time of any national emergency declared by the President may, through any agency he may delegate or otherwise investigate, regulate any person within the United States and any place subject to the jurisdiction there is. See, the government says that the President gets to regulate you. That's why they have the word regulate there. And that's why it says any person. Okay, this is their statute. But you're taking it out of context. You can't take it out of context. Congress only used words specifically for a specific reason. They kept it within the context, especially when they said that the government has ownership of all property. And we already talked about how people can be property. We just went over that when we did natural person, legal person, so shut it up. Might be a fantasy, but it's taught me. It's taught her to love, yeah. And it feels real. Anyway, since March 9, 1933, the United States has been in a state of declared emergency. These proclamations gave forth the 470 provisions of federal law. These hundreds of statutes delegated to the president extraordinary powers exercised by Congress, which affects the lives of American citizens in a host of all-encompassing manners. This vast range of powers taken together confer enough authority to rule this country without reference to the normal constitutional process. This is what the Senate said. I just took and put the quote at the end. Come on, Stephanie. Like what? She about to tell y'all. That's right. She goes on to say, or this goes on to say, not Stephanie, I hereby challenge this act as unconstitutional in that Congress did not have the authority to delegate or confer any authority to any other branch of government. It is a violation of the separation of powers, which makes this act, got to get rid of that Y, an act of Congress since 1933, and this act, and yeah, it was right. Okay. Get rid of that. Should have just added an S, but I wasn't looking at the screen. Since 1933 and the 470 provisions of federal law unconstitutional under the forbidden fruit theory. This also should be construed as a jurisdictional challenge, oh, okay. It should be, I don't want may be done even on appeal. Which is permissible even on appeal. And I highlight that the bankruptcy court is without jurisdiction to dismiss my filing as a result of lack of authority as a result of the aforementioned. Then it says, see, Williams versus this, where the court stated, whoever would consider an act will ought always have particular regard for the intent of it, and accordingly, as the intent appears, he ought to construe the words. Our own Justice Holmes put it more succinctly when he said, a page in history is worth a volume of logic. Ladies and gentlemen, when you told me, simply reach out and touch me. Teddy Pendergrass and Stephanie Mills, y'all. Okay? That's my song, that's my group, that's my peoples, y'all. She's talking about feeling fires. Okay, this website, Leg Intent, legalintent.com, legintent.com. That's where this information to feel the fire. That's where that information is coming from. But hold on. To terminate certain authorities with respects to national emergencies still in effect, and provide for orderly implementation and termination of future national emergencies. You see, they didn't provide for termination of those national emergencies originally called for, but now they're saying they're going to do that, and they're saying that this new law does not apply to the amendment made to the Act of October 6, 1917. The ownership of all property is in the state by virtue of the government. Under the new law, government obligations will be worth 100 cents on a dollar because it is backed by the credit of the nation. It will represent a mortgage on all the homes and all the people of the nation. Since we are currently under the new law of government obligations, I have tendered that obligation along with the reversionary interest of the United States as required by statute. The issue here is Congress' intent with respect to the statute. And as noted above, congressional intent was clear, and the court must recognize the following intent of the legislature. Ladies and gentlemen, hold on one second. He said he didn't want to play with her emotions, and I didn't want y'all to hear that. No, I had to skip to the bottom so I could show you that I took the case law, which says the court must go according to legislative intent. The plain meaning of the rule and the need for ambiguity, it has been held that if the statute is clear and unambiguous on its face, there cannot be interpretation by a court. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? They don't get to interpret the Act of March 9, 1933. Do you know why? Because Congress gave us their intent. What do you mean Congress gave us their intent? What are you talking about? They said that we're still under this emergency. They explained what the emergency was about. Come on, Teddy, tell them. Hold on, Teddy. Uh-oh, didn't want to do that. The fire. That's my boy. Come on, Teddy. Watch her say, Teddy, Teddy, Teddy. You're going to hear her in a minute. Feel the fire, y'all. Uh-oh, didn't mean to do that. Stop that screen. Teddy, Teddy, Teddy. I wouldn't dare play with your emotions. No, no, no. Oh, no. I'll give you all of my love. All of my love. All of my love. Feel it. Feel it. Okay. Oh, by the way, I was listening earlier today to Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick, and they were doing, I think it was the show. Yeah, the show. And I've heard him say thousands of times, is it real? Oh, 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 oh my God, is it real? Oh, oh, oh my God, is it real? Oh, oh, oh. I've heard him say that all the time. Ladies and gentlemen, to this day, only this afternoon, because when I first listened to it this afternoon, I didn't know what he was talking about when he said that. He wasn't just saying words. He was having the women say, is it real? And then, oh my God. Oh my God. That's, you okay? I'm not too happy with Dougie right now. That's right, I'm not too happy. I'm not too happy with myself that I did not realize that even back then. That's why you got to listen to the words, y'all. So I'm going to be more careful. Okay? What's congressional intent behind the Act of March 9, 1933? To mortgage all the property, mortgage all the people. Wait, hold on, Lionel. Now, you know how much I don't like you anymore, Lionel? And I got to forgive you, but I don't like you anymore. But I like you and the Commodores. I like your music, but I don't like you as a person. Okay. I have to put him on pause because, ladies and gentlemen, I need you guys to get something. I told you I can prove to you that we have trust. I can prove to you that the SSK trust does exist just by this right here. Ladies and gentlemen, the ownership of all property is in the state. No, wait, y'all didn't hear me though. The government owns all property, including all of the property of all the people. Corporations can't own property. I'm sorry, I apologize. Ladies and gentlemen, they can't own property. They can only hold it in trust. No, no, you guys, did you hear what I just told you? That the government said that they own all property. They could only do that with the consent of the people, and they could only hold it on behalf of the public. Hold on, got to go back up to that document. 1 second. Ladies and gentlemen, I need you to pay attention so that you understand what I mean by I can prove to you that they're holding a property in trust. In jurisprudence, which is the law and the understanding of the law that they have in this country, their little so-called system of laws, a natural person is a person, let's skip this stuff in parentheses, that is an individual human being, as opposed to a legal person. Now, who would a legal person be? Which would be a private or public organization. Every government organization is said to be a public organization because they're supposed to represent the public. They're holding your property in trust. They're holding it on behalf of the public. Ladies and gentlemen, they cannot own property. They are a corporation. But no, they made laws saying corporations can own property. You guys are not paying attention. Just like a corporation does not have the right to vote. Corporations do not own property. They put the property in the name of one of their officers. If you guys didn't know that, you should know it now. All the properties of a corporation is done in the name of one of its officers. There are some fine tape and fine lines put in there so that officer can't do anything with the property, but the property is done through a person, a natural person. But because the government holds your property in trust, or holds your property, because you need to pay attention, you'll get it in a second. The ownership of all property, including all of the property of all the people of the nation. Even if you don't think that this is referring to the people individually, you can refer to it as all of their property. The government is holding that property in trust. That's why they can't just do whatever they want to with it. Because they're holding your property in trust, you can now prove that there is a trust, and that, wait, if they're holding your property in trust, what does that make you? Well, that makes you the beneficiary. You don't have to prove it. That's all you have to do is say it. You just proved, according to congressional intent. See, there is no other way they could hold your property without your consent. That's how we know that there was consent. That's how we know that they set up trusts. That's why there's a Social Security Trust Fund. And the Social Security Trust Fund has nothing to do with Social Security benefits. They've been lying to everybody all this time. Why? Because they got to protect their interests. See, if all the people went ahead and took all of their stuff out of trust, they would have nothing to function with, and then they would lose the entire country. Can't afford that, can they? But please understand, they're holding you and your property in trust. There, it becomes public property, or being held on behalf of the public, not on behalf of the government. Okay, the only problem is there's supposed to be some compensation. There's supposed to be some sort of justification, and there is not. So this is me proving that your property is held in trust, that there is a trust. This is me proving that there's a difference between the legal person and that government fiction that was created, because I want you to pay attention before we shut this off. Okay, we already had it explained through Black's Law Dictionary. Let's go. Where you at, Blackie? Come here, Blackie. Good boy, Blackie. You're a good doggy. Okay. An individual or legal person is a corporation, or, according to Black's Law Dictionary, a non-natural person or non-individual is a legally generated judicial or judistic person. That's how they gain jurisdiction, because they create that person by statute. That's how they have jurisdiction over it, because they created that person. You all have been trying to figure out how to get control over that person. We'll be telling you. We have Ladies and gentlemen, I have some issues going on with people trying to start Facebook accounts with my name on it. What the? But that's okay. You got people. The one thing they can't do is challenge what I know and what I'm able to prove. I need you so that you can get a better understanding of what's going on. Replay this video. As a matter of fact, we already showed you how to download it. Ladies and gentlemen, get yourself Torch browser and you just go and you click this and you'll be able to download the video. You don't need no other software. Every video you want to see on YouTube, you just click this little button right here. Now, some of them YouTube blocks so that you can't download them, but the rest of all of mine, just keep clicking until you get them because eventually they're going to come after this site. Can't be giving you guys information like this. You don't believe me? Just pay attention. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and ladies, let me shut this down. Let me get rid of that. We ain't got, yeah, we did change some things. So we changed some things. Ladies and gentlemen, with bankruptcy, this is 10 different documents for bankruptcy. You need to do the waiver of BAP. You need to tell them what issues you're presenting. You need to give them a statement regarding oral arguments if you are going to be requesting it. You need to give them a status conference record document. You can pull all this up online, samples of each. Request for a stay pending appeal. You definitely want to do a request for a stay pending appeal. Record on appeal and statement of issues. Now, if you're saying this is the same thing as claiming it, nope, different. Designation of items to be included on appeal from the record. Oh God, when you guys see the stuff I put in there that we're including in the record, including scripture, but contextually, we're not just throwing in scriptures telling them what they don't have the right to do and what they have the right to do. We're throwing in scriptures letting them know that, wait a minute, I'm a descendant of Adam. I'm an inheritor of the land. You can't just take the land from me. I've been given the ordained right to have property. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that without saying those words. There's one document called one document. Literally, on bankruptcy, in a bankruptcy appeal, there's a document called one document. Then there's a statement of pro se status, okay? Then you have a statement of interested parties. Ladies and gentlemen, in the statement of interested parties, I said the United States is an interested party. Why is the United States an interested party in the bankruptcy? Because they own all property in America. And before somebody can come and take the property, you can't take the property of the sovereign. So before somebody can take the property, they will have to go through due process. They'd have to go through the procedure for doing so, taking the property of a government. The government owns all property. As I said before, why are you guys going into court pretending to represent the government? You should be telling them they need to be talking to the United States government, and the court doesn't have any jurisdiction over this matter because they didn't follow procedure. And you do a demurrer. You tell the court you want the matter dismissed. That's it. Oh, please, ladies and gentlemen, I do need for all of you to understand something. There is enough pressure on me as it is. So if you all can hold up with all of the questions and all of the thinking that you're going to get 5 minutes of my time, I am doing this video right now with a massive headache. I have a brother, he suffers from, they call them cluster headaches for him. Mine are nowhere near cluster. And my other brother would tell me that his headaches would be so bad that he'd have to call the ambulance to come pick him up, and he'd be out in the street waiting for him to come pick him up because the headache was so bad that he wouldn't be able to sit down and lay down. Well, my headaches are a little bit more extreme, and they last all day. And this one will pretty much ruin most of my night. But despite that, I'm working on people's paperwork. Matter of fact, those 10 motions is what I worked on this morning. All day, actually. And I got 10 more to work on tomorrow. So I don't have the time to work on your shiznick, okay? You're going to have to do that yourself. And don't get mad at me because I don't have time to help you. But if you do get mad at me, if you do find a reason to be mad at me, so I don't give a excuse Whew, Lord have mercy. You need to go do a Teddy Pendergrass and a Stephanie Mills. You need to go fill the fire because I don't care anymore, people. And you're gonna those of you who are so selfish, who want to just keep going. Now, I'm sorry. I'm talking to the ignorant people. I'm not talking to those of you who got sense. I'm not talking about those of you who know me and we have a rapport. No, I'm talking about the ignorant people who want to test me. They do it on purpose because I say don't do something, they'll do it anyway. I'm talking to those people. But anyway, now you know, now you have proof that there is a trust. You have a trust that is a government held trust or a trust or property held in trust. Remember, the government owns all property. The only way they can own all property is to hold it in trust. Government doesn't own any property, ladies and gentlemen. They can't. They are a fiction. They can't think for themselves. They are a fiction. They can't breathe for themselves. They are a fiction. They're on life support. And if you believe this so-called government shutdown wasn't planned, look, they extended it in November. They extended it in December. And all of a sudden, they didn't want to extend it again. They extended it just before they passed their so-called tax plan. And all of a sudden, they can't extend it again. Ladies and gentlemen, pay attention to the background noise. Do not pay attention to that junk. That's the stuff they're putting in front of you because they're distracting you. There is something else going on right now. Don't email me and tell me, oh, I think it's this and that. I don't care. I'm just letting you know what to look out for. When they do stupid things like this, and yes, this is a stupid thing that they're doing. Sorry, I'm not supposed to be having a lizard. He's been on here all day. I do my screen to where it goes from one to the next, and he been up there all day. Where's my shuffle? Yeah, see my slideshow? Uh-uh. He ain't supposed to be up there. It's supposed to be every minute too. Look at that. Do it for a day. Click, 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 click. And then I'm going to do it for every minute. And then let the sideshow begin. Hurry, hurry. Step right on in. Well, while I'm doing my slideshow and my sideshow, he said slideshow and sideshow. Oh, he's just so hilarious. I'm going to ask that all of you have a very good day, have a very good night, have a very good time, have a very good life. I'm out of here. Proof that the government is holding your property in trust. Goodbye.